First of all, welcome. There's a few familiar faces that I've seen already this week. Today's session is on RC Experts mid-tier. So just a couple of reminders before I introduce the panel. Reminder is Q&A. You can put questions into the Q&A section of Zoom, which you'll find at the bottom. You've also got the ability to be able to raise your hand, unmute yourself. Please make sure that this is interactive. This is an opportunity to speak with some of our specialists or experts. Any questions that we can't answer today, we will take away and make an action. But the main thing is it's interactive. We don't come prepared with specific content. It's very much guided by some of your challenges, questions that you may have around mid-tier. It's a very generic session, so do have a think about what might be quite useful to ask our panel today. We will be sharing out the recording, so if you don't want your name to be recorded, please change it to anonymous. We will put this also on YouTube, and we will also share out any links that we may talk about today or any content, and that will be put into a blog post. So let's get started. So first of all, for those that don't know me, my name is Samantha Hudson dos Santos Figueira. I work as a program manager in BMC. My main role is to get self-solve content out to customers like yourselves and partners. It can range from anything from webinars to how-to videos. Majority will go onto YouTube, and also working very closely with our support and other business functions to get useful information that might help you with getting your return of investment on your products. So it's across all of our product areas. I run roughly between 5 to 6 webinars most weeks. Some of them are more RC expert sessions and others are on very specific topics. So that's a little bit about me. Let me hand over now to my co-host, Gabriel, to introduce himself, and then we'll go through the rest of the panel.
Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Gabriel Echegoyen. I'm located in Mexico. I have been working for BMC for almost 8 years. The last 4 of them has been on mid-tier. And lately we had a webinar talking about how to test REST API before integrated with Helix ITSM. I think it went very well, and REST API is one of the most common things that we receive in cases with questions and actual issues. We all know that REST API is very exciting and very useful for most of the customers, and we understand that you want to get the most of it. So if you have any question or anything that you want to know, just let us know, and I would let Sam introduce my colleagues and part of the development area, and also my tech lead.
Okay, so I think the first person I can see is Brian. Brian, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yep. Hi, I'm Brian Bailing. I've been working at BMC for 23 years now. So I do mid-tier development, and so I've been here since the old AR web days. So you'll hear the same from Dan coming up. we basically started at the same time.
So over to Dan then. Good segue.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Dan Barbera. Just had my 24-year anniversary at BMC. Been working on the mid-tier for, I guess maybe 22 years of that time. So same as Brian.
Wonderful. Thank you. And then Sally, over to you.
Hi, Sally Ludwig, team lead for the Remedy, the mid-tier support. Been with BMC for 25 years, but only 3/4 of that time with the Remedy or Helix.
You made it shamefully that my 12.5 years doesn't sound a lot, or Gabrielle's some strong timers here. Excellent. Hopefully lots of knowledge then amongst you, many years. Thank you for the introduction. So to get things started, we don't actually have any questions that came pre this session. So normally we will ask customers to post anything on the announcement post or to let us know if they have any questions. So without having any specific topics, I can see there's quite familiar faces of regular customers that join webinars and also ask the expert sessions. So I'd like to open up the floor to our customers. Do you have any specific questions? Please raise your hand or come off mute. I think we have got one. Right, this is going to be interesting. Is it Slimbasan?
Yeah.
Ah, nice. Hello.
Yeah, I already work with the Sally NL for some of the cases. Okay. Good morning, all. This is Silambasan from Ericsson. So we are in process of planning phase for upgrading our ITSM from 2002 to 23. The latest one, which is released in this month. So we are we started this project planning last year itself. When we started, it was on-prem, was available on 21.3 or 5, I think that version we started, but now the latest version is in place. I was looking about the information about the web service in the new platform, like the firewall connection, especially when it comes to the. So my question is like in the legacy platform, we will be publishing the web service in the mid-tier host name and the application server name will be mentioned. The firewall connection from the consuming system will reach to our mid-tier level, right? So in the new architecture, everything is considered as a namespace and service. So if we want to translate the existing connection, the firewall connection, where the customer need to request in the new platform, it is specific to the DNS entry or any specific namespace, how this is going to be translated into the new architecture. I hope I explained my question. Let me know if you want me to repeat this.
Will your upgrade be in SaaS or on-prem?
Yeah.
On-prem. You would be using the DNS name. Whatever you would use to get to the mid-tier is the same thing that they are going to use.
The DNS is the one which, so that is going to route to the mid, because what we are having in current architecture, right? So we have a one DNS, which is nothing but the load balancer server, which is routing connection to the 2 mid-tier. So the external system is having firewall open until the DNS or the load balancer server level. So is the same applies into the new architecture as well? How they're going to configure that internally? Because the customer is configuring the load balancer to route the connection to web server 1 or web server 2, right? Because if they have a load balancer pool, which they will be configuring it. In this new platform, how they are going to configure this load balancer to route the connection? Do you have that information in the documentation somewhere where I can refer this one?
I'm going to have to find that for you. I'll follow up.
Okay. Yeah, because I was just trying to put the firewall request for customers, so they were asking this question like, I just told them like you mentioned about the put the connection, the firewall request to the DNS level, but they said, okay, from the DNS where it is routing. Is it like some configuration inbuilt within the platform Kubernetes, or it is going to be different? So we are using, by the forgot to mention, we are using the NetScaler load balancer currently.
Right. So let me just make sure I understand. We need information on how to configure the firewall to reach a mid-tier, whether it's behind the load balancer or not.
Yeah, especially to consume the web services, which is currently we are using it to create the tickets.
Right. Okay. I will follow up.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. And we'll make sure we put that into the blog post as well as a follow-up with all the links that are needed. Okay. Do we have any other questions from anybody else? Hello,
Yes.
hello, Marek. Oh, hang on, and Peter.
Yep.
Who
Both
wants
together.
to talk first? Okay, I'll tell you what, Peter, you go first.
Okay, maybe just a silly question, and it's one of the things that is really bothering me within the tool when you are using it. For me, it's setting up service level targets. Sometimes you have to adjust them, and I have a pretty nice bunch of service targets. So I'm doing a search criteria, and that search criteria will never stay. So once you have adjust one of those targets in mid-tier, it will run back to the first area. So pretty old-fashioned, and it is not fully extended to your screen. So it's always a small screen, and it will always go back to the system. Yeah, well, I already have an injury on my shoulder, but that one is definitely helping. Is there any way that can be changed into the future?
I think for me, I'd have to see it. I'd have to see exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah, so in the service,
it's more of a design question, though, right? I mean,
yeah,
just the way that it's designed.
Yeah.
I think we would need to actually take a look at it and see. So I don't know. That means I maybe submit something with the support team, Sally, I guess, and then we could take a look.
Yeah, it sounds to me like it's more of a design issue on a on the service level agreement application. So
yeah.
But the most disliked activity is that it is going back after your search criteria, and then know that you can change your URL so that you will end up with forms, and then going into service targets, there you have the search option, and also that one is, well, pushing you back.
Right. Yeah, as Brian said, definitely we'd like to see what you're seeing, and then we will get the needed parties involved.
And how should I perform that action? Or is that something you contact me about, or I should raise?
If you could raise a support ticket, that would be great.
Will do.
And if you want, Peter, if you want to drop me that, I can share that with the team if you're going to do it over the next couple of days so they can go and review it.
Peter, it will be great if you can mention the case that you are creating the case after attend the Asks to the Expert, so we can identify it easily. Thank you.
Yep.
Great. Any other questions, Peter, while you're off mute?
No others.
Thank you for your question. Marek, over to you. Long time no see.
Yeah, hello Sam, hello everyone. I have a question in regard to the latest development of the whole solution. Is it like, or is it the plan that the mid-tier will overtake everything from smart IT? Like now we can already do progressive web apps, etc. And that smart IT with Angular will be like obsolete, and at the end we will not use Tomcat from smart IT at all, and there will be only mid-tier. Is this the plan actually, or if it's no secret?
Yeah, it's not really something we can comment on in this forum. So
okay, so it is.
We can we can certainly get with product management and see what information is available for customers so that they can be kind of aware and know how to plan for the future. So that's something we can take offline for you.
Okay, because
Marek,
one by one, everything is moving to PWA, and at the end there will be no reason to start smart IT at all. Actually, if we will be really doing this actively, then we can do it already today. Create everything in PWA and just link only to mid-tier, you know. So that was the question. But okay, if it's secret, then we
It's
know.
not, yeah, it's not a secret. I couldn't get John, our product manager, because he's based in Australia, onto this session. But as Dan Brian was saying, let me get the full details, because I know I've done quite a few PWA webinars. There's quite a lot of content that's in them, and not being a techie, I would need to go and find that content for you as well, Marek. So
yeah, it was
I
not.
can touch base.
It's not a priority, you know. I was just curious.
So very valid question. I mean, our technology is moving a lot. We're obviously doing a lot of integrations, new stuff as well. And I know PWA, certainly for most of our customers, is a hot topic. It's something that I'm going to be focusing on for the new financial year when we get into April. There's a lot of content that's going to get created. So I'll work with the technical team here to get the content that we're allowed to share, because there is a lot of development work being done at the moment.
Yeah, I know also there is Innovation Studio, we have business workflows, everything, but then why not to join these two? And so not to have so many GUIs, let's say. Okay, thank you very much.
That's okay. Thank you for your question. If you think of anything else, feel free to raise your hand again. Kevin, over to you. I can see you've raised your hand. And hello.
Hey.
Hello.
So I have a mid-tier question. So recently I've just noticed we have the check definition interval. It's set to the defaults of 86,400. So it checks it every 24 hours. But when we look at the sync status, it usually comes up as aborted or failed. And I'm just wondering what logs or what troubleshooting can we do to investigate the root cause of that?
What version are you on, Kevin, of mid-tier? Is it a 2002 something?
Yeah. It's somewhere in that one of those past versions of 2002.
Okay. Yeah. Ideally, we'd want to see your mid-tier logging. I would turn on performance, servlet, and config logging to start with, log categories, and then set it to fine level and detailed text format.
Okay.
And yeah, there's probably some error happening, you know, that in the config tool, we don't really give you a whole lot of feedback on the status bar, but there's probably, maybe it's having trouble talking to your AR server, or it hit some kind of Java runtime error when it tried to start. So we just need to start with those logs and go from there. But yeah, we can definitely look into that for you.
Okay, thank you.
And just one, just to add some points. Is your mid-tier and AR server on the same version?
Yes.
Okay, because we have communication issues when they have it in different versions, but if it's not the case, that's good. Thanks.
Okay, Kevin, does that answer everything you need for your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Do we have any other questions from anyone else? Don't be shy. Hey, Andreas. Hello.
I was wondering, when you open up the AR system configuration generic UI on 21.3.11, there is an item called arsystem.bmc.arsys.midtier. And I can see on one environment, there's just one entry, which is called AR system, BMC, ARSys, mid-tier, Docker empty cluster user. And that's the only entry on this environment. And when I check on another environment, I can see more there. I can see just mid-tier with the percentage sign at the end, and then there's also like Docker empty cluster int and Docker empty cluster user. So I don't know why this would be not really in sync, and why would there be sometimes those entries, sometimes not.
So you mean in in CCS, in the sometimes when you go to select your component, you see the discrepancy in the entries between one system and the other?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd have to look at how your mid-tiers are configured for CCS versus what's set up in AR server, and try and determine why you might have entries that don't match. All that information you see is form-based and data in those forms based, so maybe something's out of sync there. So if you want to submit a support ticket, we could definitely look into that for you.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Andreas. We have a question in the Q&A section. Axel's question was, any solution or roadmap so that we can publish the approval central form only to the service desk team so that they can perform approvals reassignment? The requirement is the team should be able to access the approval central form for approvals reassignment. I don't know, guys, if this is a question that we can answer, or whether or not I need to go and speak to product management, but maybe you have a little bit of a steer on it. So possibly something Dan or team can answer.
That again is an application design question, not really a mid-tier issue.
Axel, I don't know if you're able to come off mute. I'm happy to go and talk to product management. I know when we used to work together, when I was in my old position, I know there was quite a lot of requests that came in for design and enhancement. That's going to be a question that we need to go to the PM with. Are you all right for me to go and follow that up post session today?
Hi, Samantha. Yes, sure. That's great. I think I was a bit. Sometimes I'm new to BMC product. Sometimes I'm confused about mid-tier application on the form. But yeah, sure.
Okay. Do you have any other? Yeah, thank you. Any other questions while you're off mute for the team?
Nope. I just Thank you.
Okay. I'll put a note in the chat to follow up on your question and let you know once I've spoken with the PM. Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions? Andreas, hello again.
I thought of something which always quite annoyed me for many months. I think it's still not really fixed, but I think it should be fixed very soon. That when you are on mid-tier, and then I think pretty much when you have ITSM installed and you have the flyout menu on the left there. I mean, we had a case for this a long time ago, and we had a defect for this, and I mean, it was kind of committed for one version, but then got pushed to another version, and so it was always really annoying that you try to like select the menu, but it's not selecting the right menu. And I think I've still seen it, but very, very rarely in 21.3. And I mean, I'm really hoping now that it will be finally gone forever in 23.3. And I think it is caused by some kind of race condition or so, which makes it that you can't select the menu item you want, and then you kind of have to like delete your cache and so on, and you want to work and you want to select something and it's just not working, and it was really annoying, and it was a bug that is, I think I have seen this bug with 18.08 already, and it was in the product for a very long time.
Yeah,
I can't say that I've seen that before, but you said there was a defect filed for it?
Yeah.
Did you happen to have that defect? I mean, we could follow up. It's one of those things where it's intermittent, like you said, right? So if it's intermittent and we're not able to replicate it in-house, it becomes difficult for us to do much with it. So that's part of the problem. But yeah, if you have a defect for that, we can definitely follow up and take a look.
Yeah, it's fine. So, I mean, I just thought of it and wanted to mention it because I mean, it's one of those things where I feel like that will just not be reported because I mean, it's like a lot of work to really work then on those cases with BMC and actually have them understand what is the issue and then actually debug it and so on, and then the next thing is if you actually go through all this, then you have to kind of wait for years to then actually get on a version which has it like completely fixed. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Like I said, that's part of the deal, that like, if the defect is not easily reproducible, some are, right? Some are very specific and easy to replicate, so they're able to be fixed fairly quickly. The ones that are not, and again, we can take a look at the defect, but the ones that are not that way, and if you can't replicate the problem, we could even get on a call while you're having the problem. When we get on a call, we start looking at it and the problem doesn't replicate anymore, right? So that happens all the time. But yeah, those ones are tricky, right? So let's take a look at the defect, see where it ended up, and we'll kind of go from there on it.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Andreas. If you want to share it post webinar, I'm happy to share that with the team. Okay. Thank you for your question. So we have another question in the Q&A from Tanya. She was wondering if there were any plans to have the capability to upload work orders via the data management job console. Right now, she can bulk upload for incidents, but there is no BMC template for work orders.
Yeah, that would be an applications question. Unless you're having an issue using mid-tier to do that, there's forms involved with that process, which I'm not super familiar with, and you're having issues with using those forms and workflow, then could be a mid-tier issue, but that probably needs to go to product management.
Yeah, because right now when you go and you want to download the BMC templates, to do anything like people load, instance, whatever, you have that option. But for work orders, they don't have that option whatsoever. And the way it is right now, our users are requesting for us to do some bulk work orders instead of incidents because they're not a true incident. They're actually a service request.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So we just need to get that question to the right people, I think, and we can get you an answer for that.
So Dan, is it product management? Because obviously I'll give a whole host of questions to John. Unfortunately, it's just timescales when you're a global organization. We don't have enough product managers around the globe. Okay,
Right.
I'll go and follow
So
that up.
Yeah, it's just is it missing functionality or is it functionality that's not working as expected and it should be there? So if it's completely missing functionality that's desired or needed, then that may be more product management. But if there's something that should be working a certain way and it's not behaving, then that might need to go to the team that supports that interface for doing those loads, bulk loads.
Okay. So Tanya, we'll take it away as an action to follow up with product management and come back to you on that question as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your question. Okay. That's all of the questions that we had in the Q&A and obviously the raised hands. So does anybody else have any other generic questions? Andreas, you're on fire today. Hello again.
Just a comment on the last one.
Go for it.
I guess it's. I mean, I was just checking quickly, and on 21.3, I don't see it right now. So I mean, that's nothing new. That for BMC products there are always gaps, and if nobody is really working on closing those gaps, I mean, they will just never be closed. One alternative, I mean, we have offered in the past was using the REST API to do bulk stuff. Or like another alternative, I guess, would be based on the other ticket types to like build such thing on your own, which I don't know how much time you want to invest in this and how important it is, but this would also be another option.
Tanya, I don't know if you heard what Andreas said. It was more directed to you of whether there was other options that you were looking at.
Yeah, I always try to avoid doing less customization as possible, but it's just because you see it for other options, but for some reason you don't see it for work orders.
Well, we'll see what product management say, and obviously if there is any further investigation that needs to be done, obviously if you're looking to ensure that you don't do any customization, I think the first protocol, going back to Dan and Brian, is let's have a discussion with our product management and we'll come back on that. Thanks for feedback as well, Andreas. Okay. Why we just give a few more minutes for if anyone else have any other questions as well. I'll just throw it out to the panel. Is there anything else in particular, just because mid-tier is a very generic subject, there's a lot of stuff that we do within mid-tier. Is there any other findings or something that you want to share around troubleshooting or recommendations? Feel free to add any flavor or context that you want to. I don't know if there's specific things that we see common themes.
For me personally, I've been working on a lot of web reporting issues recently. Still very much used by customers. So if you have any questions around that, that's something we can definitely help with.
Thank you, Tim.
Can I add there's one, I mean, when we talk about reporting in mid-tier, one thing I never knew but randomly found that there's like actually a GUI application to design those reports, because I mean I never had, because we were looking for alternatives when smart reporting was to be going away. So I was just looking at that there's actually a tool to design those reports, and
Right.
it was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah. So what what BMC did when we came out with web reporting is it's all based, it's an Eclipse project, as you know, probably. We used that tool that you found. That's the standalone Eclipse BERT report designer. So BMC wrote a number of out-of-the-box reports and provided those, with the ITSM install. And then we also came out or included the concept of you could go to the AR system report console form and you could create new BERT reports. And that's just a stripped down version of the BERT report designer GUI tool that you're referring to. So if you want to write reports directly in the BERT reporting tool, you're more than encouraged to do that. Sometimes we don't have a lot of expertise in how to actually design those reports in the tool, but there's some documentation on how to integrate reports you've written so that they show up in the AR system report console and end users can run them. So yeah, there's a lot more you can do in the GUI tool than you can do in our kind of stripped down version of that in the report console.
So is there actually any end of life date for mid-tier reporting, or is this still kept alive?
Yeah, well, that's another one of those product management questions. The only thing I can tell you is currently we're still supporting it. We're fixing defects and where we can, and that's still very much used. But maybe we could get some information from product management on long-term plans on that.
Sounds good, yeah.
Dan, if you can share those links certainly with me, I'll make sure that they get put into the Q&A as well. So if anyone else wants to do any reading up.
Yeah, there's some good docs on integrating your own custom reports with mid-tier. So I'll send those.
Actually, I hope you will not remove this feature because it's the best way to export ARX files, If you need fast export, then this is the best way.
Yep. Agreed. You're kind of not able to do it without the current web reporting.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm mostly using. I think for me it's always pretty cumbersome to go that route. So I've been using the AR export.bat file to set up the kind of the string I need to export something and then do it that way, so I don't have to click around and build it via the console in mid-tier. And this file is always provided with the AR server, and I think in the newer versions it should be part of the AR utilities. There's a file called AR utilities in EDP, and those, when you don't actually have the server anymore or you're in SaaS anyway, I mean you can still get those tools via EDP and still use them if you don't have access anymore to the AR server file system.
Yeah, so the command line AR export, that's another way to go.
Okay. We don't have any more questions. So I don't know if there's anyone that hasn't spoken yet that would like to raise their hand or come off mute. If you don't, we will close the call early. I will just ask once again from the panel, was there anything else that you feel might be useful for customers just around mid-tier that you want to share? Feel free to obviously do that. Otherwise, we'll close the call.
Sam, I just want to share with our customers that we have prepared a best FAQs document related to REST API. It's available if you have any doubt or you are starting to use it. I think this is a good point to start. If you allow me, I just want to share my screen.
Sure, please take.
Yeah. Just give me 1 second. And this is the one that we have prepared. The first point is how to log in, then how to get entries, how to retrieve attachments, how to delete entries, how to update entries, how to create the scripts for HTTP test tool, and how to use this HTTP client. This is all of them contains videos. How to test a third-party REST, how to test third-party REST using core command, and finally this status HTTP status code that you might receive back from the REST. I think this is a very good point to start. And if you haven't done it yet, to play with REST, and that's all. That's all what I would like to share this time.
Thank you, Gabriel. And we'll share that link for this blog post as well for everyone to access the FAQ.
Okay.
Great. Thank you. Andreas, did you raise your hand again?
Yes, sorry.
Don't apologize. It's what it's for. Please do.
Concerning the REST API. So do you mention the simplified REST API also on this page? Because I mean, I was recently checking it out, and I mean, it's like another option you have to actually do REST in like another way, kind of.
No, I'm just focused on REST API, no, not the simplified one.
So I think that should definitely be mentioned, that I think starting with 21.x, there's a simplified REST API. Also interesting, I was actually looking at it this week. With 21.x, you are actually not able to create tickets with this simplified REST API. There are a couple things you can do. You can look at tickets, you can update tickets, but you can't create them. But with the 22 version of the API and like the rest of the platform, you are actually able to create tickets with the simplified REST API, and it's it's a new, different way. It's, I guess, like how people from outside would expect things to look when they get a REST API, because the kind of legacy mid-tier REST API is kind of special, I guess, because it's also like coming from the web service days and was like put a little bit REST on the old web service API.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thanks. I think I will need to check with my colleagues from Innovation Studio. I think that's the group that brings support.
Yeah, exactly.
The simplified
REST API was built with Innovation Studio.
Yeah, I will need to check with them and probably update the best FAQs with their inputs. Thanks for mentioning it. I haven't covered it yet.
You're welcome. Thank
Gabrielle,
you.
I was going to say if a video needs to be created as well, then we can work with that team through problem management, but I'll put it as an action if that's okay, Gabrielle, for you to speak to the team, update the FAQ, and then if necessary, I can work with them to get a video just to show customers how to do that.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sam.
Okay, great.